part 9 of this video series, and I'm gonna start making the boss for this. So to work on the AI, just before I continue, I'm gonna explain that I'm not gonna use the blackboard and service method, because I tried that and I found that it was way too much work for what I needed. All I need is the boss to follow the player around, and based on the distance between the boss and the player, he triggers close range or long range attacks. So to get started, I'm gonna go in my persistent level, and I'm gonna type in nav here, and get the Nav Mesh bound volume. Once I have that, I'm gonna scale it up. Right now my levels, both of them are the same size, this platform to run on. However, if my levels were a different size, there was a bigger one, well, I would make this big enough to cover the bigger one. Next, go into project settings and scroll down till you see Nav Mesh. Make sure this is checked out, forced rebuild on load, and runtime generation dynamic. These settings can be changed later on based on your need, but just leave them ticked on for now. Now to run a small test, what we're going to do is go into blueprints for third person BP, access the third person character, and here, this little bit of code I added, it's an event tick. I'm just gonna redo it again. So you add the event tick, type in move AI, connect the event tick here, type in self, connect it to pawn, and get player character, and put it into target actor. For acceptance radius, you can put it to, I don't know, we'll put it to 200. We're not gonna actually use an event tick, this is just to test this out. So I'm gonna compile. I'm gonna go into my blue level, and I'm gonna put a third person character. I'm gonna go into my red level after, and put one here too. Now if you notice, I made a golden gate, and I plan on using that as an obstacle in the middle of my level. Earlier we set the project settings, and the project settings allows this navigation mesh to recalculate itself on load. So when there's an obstacle, it's going to recalculate itself. So if I hit play and go into my blue level, he's chasing me. There. Now I could try it with the red level to make sure the obstacle's working. But before that, actually, I'm just going to go into the red level and slow his speed down a little bit. Because if he chases me faster than I can run away, well, I can't get him to hit the door, this golden gate. So walk speed, I'll set it to 450 for this one. Now I'm gonna hit play and let's go check it out. So I'm gonna try him to run around the golden gate and chase me there, and see if he can't go through it because it has collisions and his nav mesh doesn't allow him. So an obstacle in the middle of the level is working. This way you could have a statue or whatever, depends on your level art. So I have these characters chasing me now in my level. So we tested out the nav mesh, it's working well, even with an obstacle. So in the next segment, we'll start to make the boss AI. Okay, so let's start making the boss. First thing is, in my levels, I removed the two third person characters I had placed. Another thing I want to do is turn off that green stuff from that navigation mesh by hitting P. You select it and you hit P. So now let's go back. I'm going to turn off this level, and I'm going to go into third person blueprint, select blueprint. I want to duplicate this guy. I'm going to call him blue boss and move him into the boss folder. Now in blue boss, I don't need any of this blueprint. Go into the viewport and change the skeletal mesh to Warrock. Another thing you don't need is this follow camera and the camera boom, because we're not going to look at him anyway. Next we need is to give him movement. So an animation blueprint. So go into animation blueprint, select anim instance and Warrock, press OK, and I'm going to call this blue boss underscore ABP for animation blueprint. Just gonna place that here. Now, just gonna open up third person blueprint animation blueprint, and I'm just gonna check what nodes they got. They have a is valid, so I'll need that too. Connect it here, connect that there. Next thing I need is get movement component is following. I don't need this stuff. What I need is get velocity, vector length, and a speed variable. So I'm gonna go in my blueprint and I'll make that speed variable. Put it as a float. Set it. Connect is valid to speed. I'm just gonna stack these up. Now that we have that, let's compile. Okay, he has speed. Next, we'll make the state machine. And I'm just gonna call it locomotion. Then I'm also gonna make a slot node. Add a slot, and we'll call this body. Select body and connect these together. Go into a state machine, and now we need to go get a blend space. So go into the boss folder, animation, blend space 1D, select Warak, and type in blue boss, blend space. Now I need to make sure I have the idle animation and the run animation here. I don't need these T poses. Run. Where's his idle pose? There it is, boxing. And his run pose is right here. But he's moving out of spot again, so again we'll set this to skeleton. So now he's running on the spot. Now we're gonna go into our boss animation blueprint and add a state. We'll call it run. Plug that in. Go get that new blend space we just made and plug in the speed variable. So let's see him run. Okay, so he's running. Let's go into blue boss, his event graph, and I'm gonna make a custom event. Okay, I'm gonna call this custom event seek player. Now I'm gonna type in move AI. And I'm gonna type in self and get player character, plug self into pawn, and target actor, get player character. Acceptance radius, put it to 200. We can modify that later. Then put in a delay for all 3 of these pins. And then we're gonna call the event seek player. Make sure to add a delay, otherwise it's gonna crash and give you an infinite loop. For the next piece, let's actually add an event begin. Event begin play, and you want to call seek player. Just add a small delay to here, so it's not instant. So here's the loop that seeks player. That's gonna cause him to chase, and this will be our initializer. So when he starts, this code is gonna run first, and we're gonna set up his health and a bunch of different things from event begin play. So to give him a run, let's go into the blue level, And where does it start? Okay, let's place him here. And let's check what's working and what's not working. He's chasing us, so that's a good thing, but we forgot to plug in his animation blueprint. So let's do that. So blue boss animation blueprint. Compile that, go to character movement, type in walk speed. Let's put that a bit lower. Let's put it to 500. There he is, look at him. He's ready to kill someone. Okay, so I'm gonna end this segment here, and what I'm gonna do is, in the next segment, we're gonna get him to detect how close or how far he is from the player. And as for the red boss, I'm not gonna start him yet. I'll do him when I'm done with the range character. So we're gonna be fighting this guy, it's gonna be a lot of fun. So to get the boss to detect the player as to how close or how far he is, we'll go into the boss blueprint and we'll make a new function. I'm gonna call this function player distance. Then I'm gonna type in get actor location. Under it, get player character. Now drag a pin out and type in get actor location again. Now what you want to do is subtract. You want to subtract this one and this one together. Actually, you probably want to swap these together here. Next, you type in vector length and return value, promote to variable, and we'll call it distance. So player distance will go into the distance variable. Now what's gonna happen is we're gonna have a branch here, and if distance is greater than or equal to, let's say 600. If it's true, then print. We'll put two print strings, and this one we'll put it in red. So when a red hello appears, the player's too far. If a blue one appears, he's just in range. So let's go to the event graph. Let's make a custom event, and we're gonna call this distance player instead of player distance. I'm not very creative with the names. Then set timer. Oh, wrong one. Type in timer and set timer, this one. The function we made was called player distance, so we type that in. Set it to looping, and we'll set it to 1 second for now. And in the initializer, the initialize boss, I'll type in distance player. So let's give that a go. In the blue level, I'm too far from him. Now look, I'm in close range, so it's in blue. Now if I run away, which is kind of hard because he's actually really fast. There was a red hello there. That means I was running away from him. I'm out of range, and I'm in range. This is just for far and close, but you can also have a third one. So you can have mid-range, long range, and close range. And it would just be a matter of creating more of these. So you would also have a less than and equal to, we put in an and. So here you would check, is it greater than this and less than this? If it's true, well, he would be in mid-range. So I could put this to 1000, 1000, and set this one to 2000. And here I'll type in mid, and I'm going to put the color to yellow. So if this wasn't true, then he would be far. So 1001. If distance is greater than that, he's far from me. It's in red. I'm going to copy paste this, plug into the false, and this is the last option. Oh, here I made a mistake. It's 2001, and here should be 999. So here he's near. If distance is less than 1000, you're close. If it's greater than 2000, like this 2000, you're far. But if you're in between those two values, then you're in mid-range. I'm actually going to put this to green. So let's see what happens here. But before I do that, I'm going to go to the boss and modify his walk speed, so I can have a chance to escape. So I'm far, now I'm in mid-range, now I'm in close range. If I keep running, eventually I'm going to outrun him. He's very persistent. Now I'm in mid-range. See, that's how you detect player distance. And then what will happen is, after these we would launch custom events that we're going to make in the event graph, and those will be windows that will decide, I'm saying windows, there's just going to be little custom events that are going to decide which attack at random. So we're going to cover that in the next segment. So for our boss, let's set up the attack choosers. And before I continue, I'm just going to comment this stuff. I'm going to cram it all up first so it doesn't take too much space. Like this. So this whole stack of nodes, it detect player distance. And maybe you guys want to have a mid-range, but I know I don't. So I'm just going to have close range and long range attacks for this guy. So I'll delete the top segment. And here I got my far range and my close range. But I would want to change the values here. So I'll put 1500 and 1499. Sounds like a price. So I got these two. And here I got my far range. I call it long range. Okay, and here I'm gonna have my close range. I'm gonna leave the print strings on for now, but I'm gonna get rid of them after. So back in the event graph, this is the function that gets player distance. So player distance function. Next, what I'm going to do is create a bunch of events, custom events. Just gonna move this. So custom event, and I'll call this long range. Another one, and I'll call it close range. Now we don't have animations that are set up, and we're not gonna do this right now. So we're just gonna set up with a bunch of print strings. What you want is switch on int for integer. Wrong one. Switch on int here, integer. And you want to expand this to as many times as you want. This is the number of attacks you would have for close range, let's say. And for long range, I'll give him less because he's a close range character. I'll give him 2 for now, but we'll see after. For selection, drag that out and type in random integer in range. You want to get this. Copy paste it and plug it in. So you're at 0 is your minimum, 3 is your max, so do that. And 0 and 1. Now we're going to have a lot of print strings, so we're going to go to player distance, this function, and delete these 2 print strings and call in those custom events that we just made. Actually, here you can even get rid of this. You don't need this, because if it's true, then all that's left is false. So if he is long range, if he is further away than that, then it's gonna go to true or false. So we'll just call this instead range pick, or even better, attack range pick. That's all this function serves for, and we never have to stop it until the enemy is dead. So now I'm gonna put up print strings. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm gonna connect all of these together, and I'm gonna type in Melio 1, Melio 2, 3, 4. Copy these twice, plug them in, and you want to change this color to red just so it's easier to see. And we'll call this range 01. And range 02. So let's give this a shot. So you can see that he's actually choosing different attacks. You can see the number change on the corner of the screen. On the corner of the screen you can see he's choosing different attacks. He's selecting a different attack at every second. So I'm going to leave this video for the time being, and we're going to continue adding things to our boss. So thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.